Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this eagle wreath. I've linked in the description a supply list and where you can purchase everything. We're going to start out by cutting our 10-inch deco mesh into a 10-inch square. We're going to fold that square into a triangle and then down into a triangle again, and then one more time down. Now I'm just trimming off the excess mesh on the bottom. And then I'm going to bind that bottom with a clear elastic. As you can see, we have our first feather. You'll end up with one fold on one side and two folds on the other. Now I'm going to show you how to fold the opposite side of the wreath. You're going to fold that into a triangle, fold it down like you did before, but this time you're going to flip it over and fold up. And this will give you the opposite effect as that first feather. Again, I'm just going to trim off the bottom excess and bind this with a clear elastic. And as you can see, you have the opposite effect here. You have two folds on one side, one on the other, and they are mirrored. Here's the wreath board I made to make this wreath. As you can see, there's some chips in it from drilling. It doesn't matter. They all get covered up. I use pipe cleaner to attach my feathers to this wreath board. I cut them into about thirds. Depending on how long your pipe cleaners are that you buy, you need about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches to attach. I take these pieces of pipe cleaner and insert each end into a hole on the wreath board and just follow the holes. And once you reach the center hole, I put in 2 pipe cleaners into one hole. That way I know that that's my center when I am switching colors. And this is that center hole that I was talking about. So I will work my way back to it and show you what I mean by that. And as you can see here, that center hole has 2 pipe cleaners coming through it, and that is how I know that that's my center of my board and when to switch colors coming down. I went ahead and just sped this up. For the rest of the holes, I do go ahead and just insert in 1 pipe cleaner per hole. I go ahead and I leave these center ones open for now, where I'm going to put some longer pipe cleaners in this one to attach the eagle head at the end of the wreath. And there you have it. That is how you fill all the pipe cleaners in to attach all of the feathers. So let's get going on it. So across this top, I go ahead and I point my feathers upwards. I find that it gives it a little bit more of a fierce look, like it's in flight. And I just give it a few twists to hold each feather on. Pull it as tight as you can. Some people use zip ties. I prefer to use pipe cleaners. Go ahead and use the zip ties though if you feel like you want to. The small size does fit in these holes. I just go ahead and trim off the ends of the pipe cleaners once I know that I've got them on there good. I'm just going to repeat the same process for the other side. Make sure when you make each side of the wreath, when you're folding those feathers, that you separate them into piles so that you have a left and a right side. There we have our top row done. And as you can see, each feather is mirrored on each side of the wreath. So the top row was pointed upwards. I'm going to go ahead and flip that feather pointing downwards for this next row. I'm just following along that next row. And as you can see, it starts to point a different direction than that top row. And I'm just going to continue on to the next row. I'm just going to continue down until I get to that pipe cleaner that has 2 in 1 hole, and that's when I know to switch colors. All right, now that I have this side done, I'm going to continue on to the next side. And there we have the blue finished up, the top of the feathers on the eagle wreath. Now let's move on to the red. Again, we're going to cut them into 10-inch squares. And then we're going to fold down again. For this one, I like to bind it first with the clear band. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the excess. And there I have my first feather. For the other side, again, you're going to fold it into a triangle, fold down, then we're going to flip it, fold up, and that gives it the mirror effect for the other side of the wreath. Trim off the excess and band it with a clear band. For this one, I go ahead and do a row of red. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the rest of this side of the wreath with the red feathers until I get to the bottom. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the opposite side and just fill that whole side in with red. I'm just arranging these feathers how I like them, and there you have it. I have the feathers all attached to this wreath. Here I printed the picture on a 5-inch circle, just on computer paper, and then I give it a light mist of clear coat, just so that when I Mod Podge this onto my 5-inch wood sign, it doesn't smear. I do a thin layer of the Mod Podge, and then I go ahead and just place the printed paper on that. And then I just flip it over and press down to get that to really seal on there really well. Since I gave it a clear coat, I am able to press those bubbles out really well with my fingers and just make sure that those edges are sealed down really well. Then I'm just going to do another thin layer of Mod Podge just to seal that sign in really well. And there you have it. I attach my signs with these little clear loops that I got on Amazon. They have an adhesive on the back that sticks onto the back of the sign, and then I can use either pipe cleaners or zip ties to attach it to the wreath. I did a light misting on the red just so it wasn't so bright and kind of gave it more of a fierce look. Here I am attaching the eagle head. This is where it's going to be placed with the sign just below. I take a piece of scrap wood and I break a piece off so that when I attach the eagle head, I can use this to hold it up. To attach this eagle head, I am going to go ahead and use zip ties. Mine weren't quite long enough, so I did go ahead and connect two together and bring them through the back, up to the front. And here's where I'm going to put the zip tie through the brackets on the back of the eagle head to attach it to the wreath. There's that piece of scrap wood that I'm putting into place. Don't worry, this all gets covered up. Here I'm just using more zip ties. There's 3 brackets on the back to attach this eagle head to the wreath, and I'm just using zip ties to attach all of that. Once I get it through the bracket, I go through the eagle wreath board and zip tie that on really well. Okay, so now that the eagle head is attached with the zip ties on the back, this is when I secure that piece of wood in place to hold the eagle head up where I want it. And I just wedge it in there so it's pretty much in place, and then I use hot glue to secure it permanently. All right, now let's get all of our mechanics covered up. I put black feathers on this wreath, again, to give it more of that fierce look. I just go ahead and hot glue those in. And then I just go ahead and glue in the white feathers around the eagle head. Now it's time to attach the sign, and I use a zip tie again on this one. Just put it through the back of the eagle wreath board and then zip tie that into place of where you want it. And then I just go ahead and hot glue that to the feathers as well, just for extra security on that. And here's how it's turning out so far. I didn't want my stars to be bright white, so I did go ahead and mist them with a little bit of black spray paint. And now I'm just attaching those. They are adhesive. I get them off of Amazon, and I'll link below. But I do give it a little dab of hot glue on the back just to make sure that they're really secure on there. Now I'm taking a zip tie, and I am giving myself a place to hang the wreath from. I do secure it to the back bracket of the top of the eagle head, so that the wreath is actually hanging from the bracket on the eagle head rather than the wreath board. And there you have it, all finished up. Again, I've linked everything below. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.